Narwhal, the unicorn of the sea, is swimming under the Arctic ice. The majestic tusks shine like diamonds. We'll show you close-ups of the spiral horns. You have never seen anything like this before. These pictures were taken by scientists who followed a pod of narwhals for several weeks to observe their behavior. They wanted to know how these fascinating creatures managed to live in the ice-jammed waters of the Arctic Ocean. But what they saw during their research will remain in their minds forever. The male narwhal is one of the most mysterious animals in the ocean. Its long, spiraled tooth resembles a unicorn more than a sea creature. But it's not just any ordinary tooth. It's a fully grown horn that can reach 10 feet in length. These are the largest teeth in the animal kingdom. That's why the new people call the narwhal the unicorn of the sea. It's hard to believe, but the horn of a male narwhal is not a weapon. Instead, it serves as a tool to attract females during mating season. The larger and heavier the horn, the more likely it is to attract a partner. So the males compete with each other by locking their horns together and trying to overpower the opponent. Scientists believe that only the strongest and most courageous narwhals dare to engage in such duels. After all, the weight of the horns can reach to 100 pounds. That's as much as a polar bear. But sometimes duels can be dangerous and even lead to serious injuries. However, there has never been a recorded case of a fatal outcome. The scars on the body and horns tell stories of past battles. Sometimes the duel can last up to an hour, but usually the fight ends quickly with one of the males giving up and admitting defeat. In nature, there are many strange and unusual animals, but the narwhal is truly unique. This species of toothed whale belongs to the same family as dolphins and porpoises. Although some may argue that calling a narwhal a whale is not entirely accurate, as these are actually very small whales. Narwhals are no bigger than dolphins, reaching lengths of about 16 feet and weighing up to 3 tons. They are perfectly adapted for life in cold waters. A thick layer of fat and a thick skin coat keep them warm in icy climates. Their streamlined bodies make them graceful and fast swimmers. Scientists believe that narwhals are highly intelligent creatures, although they prefer to be alone and only gather in groups during mating season or when food is abundant. Scientists think that the intelligence of narwhals is comparable to that of chimpanzees and bonobos. Now let's get back to the amazing images captured by the researchers. As you watch this video, pay attention to the background. Behind the dancing narwhals, you'll see huge glaciers and icy water. This is their home. This is the Arctic Ocean where the sun's rays can't penetrate through the dense ice cover. And it's here that the narwhal lives. To capture these beautiful images, scientists had to spend several weeks following the pod of narwhals. They didn't expect to find anything unusual because the narwhals were behaving quite calmly. Then suddenly the calm was broken by an intense duel between two males. It lasted about half an hour, but eventually one of the opponents retreated. The winner raised his head high above the surface of the water, showing off his magnificent horn. Afterward, the exhausted but still proud winner dove deep into the water, disappearing from sight. After the duel, scientists noticed something strange. The retreating male narwhal surfaced a little further away from the first one. He was injured. Blood was pouring from his eye, which was completely discolored. Despite the severe injury, the narwhal tried to hide it and quickly disappeared under the water. Most likely, he was trying to hide from his opponent and recover a bit. But the scientists were able to take a few pictures of him. Although the researchers knew that the duel was over, they continued to monitor the situation just in case. However, nothing noteworthy happened. The rest of the day, the narwhals swam calmly and peacefully. Some of them approached the surface, allowing the researchers to take incredible close-up pictures. One of the males was particularly active. He kept turning over on the surface of the water, showing off his impressive horn. The scientists couldn't understand why he was doing this until they noticed a female nearby. She was watching the male very closely and was clearly impressed by his large horn. Perhaps he was trying to attract her attention. In any case, the male was successful. The female soon began swimming alongside him. Scientists observed the pair for a while longer, after which they had to leave. The next day, they returned to the same place, hoping to spot the narwhals again. But it turned out that their hopes were in vain. There was not a single narwhal in the ocean. The scientists were disappointed. They had to wait another week to get the chance to observe the narwhals again. When the opportunity finally presented itself, the scientists were ready for anything. They had prepared well and were not mistaken. They managed to capture amazing footage of the narwhals. This time, however, they noticed something unusual. A group of about 10 narwhals gathered around a humpback whale carcass that had recently died. The humpback was tangled in fishing nets, and although it was larger than the narwhals, it was unable to free itself and ultimately drowned. Of course, the narwhals didn't intend to leave the dead whale without proper respect. The scientists watched in amazement as the narwhals took turns approaching the corpse and touching it with their horns. At first, they thought that the narwhals were simply curious, but then the animals began to pull the carcass with their teeth. The male narwhal used its horn to turn the dead whale over and the females began tearing the flesh with their teeth. The males joined them, helping to break down the carcass of the humpback whale. By working together, the narwhals managed to drag the prey a few dozen meters away from the coast. It seemed that they were going to finish eating the carcass right there. However, they left the remains of the whale during the night and returned to it the next morning. They continued eating the carcass, after which they disappeared along with the remains of their prey. Some time later, the scientists came across the narwhals again. They were swimming in a large group and seemed to be playing. One of the males separated from the pod and began swimming towards the researchers' boat. The male circled the boat several times, after which he dived deep into the water. A few seconds later, he resurfaced right under the boat and blew her right at the people sitting in it. He repeated this several times, but when the scientists tried to approach him, the narwhal immediately dived away. It is worth noting that the narwhal is a very shy creature and prefers to stay away from humans. The male probably just wanted to check out the boat and the people in it, but seeing that the danger was gone, he quickly disappeared into the depths. This species of whale is currently classified as endangered. Over the past 100 years, the population has declined by 40%, mainly due to global warming. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like it. Also watch our video about blue whales.